You're a Lego person. Yellow face, no nose, 4 fingers on each hand. You've been on this ship 4 days, and everything is going great. The food is excellent. The music is always playing somewhere. Someone keeps handing you a plastic champagne flute that clips right to your hand. You're in second class, but the hallway carpet is deep red and the walls are polished wood, and somewhere in first class, a man named John Jacob Astor IV, worth about $87 million in 1912, is finishing a very long dinner at a very long table. That's just how this ship is divided. 3 classes, 3 different versions of the same Atlantic crossing. And tonight, for the last time, all 3 versions are running simultaneously, completely unaware of what the next 6 hours are about to look like. It is April 14th, 1912, Sunday. The North Atlantic is flat, black, and 28 degrees Fahrenheit. You are asleep. Most people are asleep. That is the first thing to understand about what comes next. Not dramatic, not cinematic. 2,224 people in wool blankets and silk sheets, dreaming, completely unaware that 100 feet of steel hull is about to meet something that does not care what the brochure said. The iceberg was not briefed. It didn't get the press kit. It is just ice sitting in the dark doing what ice does, which is exist and be extremely hard at exactly the wrong moment. At 11:40 p.m., 2 lookouts named Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee are up in the crow's nest. They have no binoculars. Nobody packed the binoculars. This is not a metaphor. This is literally what happened. They were in a locked cabinet, and the officer with the key had been reassigned in Southampton, and nobody sourced replacements before departure. Fleet sees the ice. He rings the bell 3 times. He grabs the telephone. Iceberg, right ahead. The man below says, "Thank you." That is the full exchange. 5 words and a thank you. The Titanic starts to turn. Too late. Not by hours, just by seconds. The ice scrapes the starboard side. A zipper sound, a low groan. 6 watertight compartments open below the waterline. You sleep through it. So do most people. The ones in forward third class feel a shudder. Some check the hallway. Nothing visible. They go back to bed. That is how it starts. Quiet. Slightly weird. A vibration and then nothing, which is the most dangerous kind of nothing there is. Thomas Andrews built this ship. Every rivet, every bulkhead. He is awake by midnight and walking the damage with the captain, and by 12:15 a.m. he has the answer. This ship is going to sink. Not maybe. Not if conditions worsen. In approximately 2 hours. The water is moving through compartments designed to hold it back, and they are not holding it back because the damage is 6 compartments wide, and this ship can float with 4 flooded. Andrews knows the math. He designed the math. And the math says the bow is going down. Here is the part that doesn't make the souvenir mugs. There are 2,224 people on this ship. There are lifeboats for 1,178. Not a mistake discovered after the fact. A decision made before Southampton, before Belfast, before anyone ever boarded. White Star Line thought more lifeboats would clutter the promenade deck, make it look crowded. The deck was supposed to look like a walking park over the ocean, a symbol of pure luxury and open space. Extra boats ruined the aesthetic, so they pulled them. 16 regulation lifeboats, 4 collapsibles, and everyone got on board anyway, because it was the largest ship ever built, because the engineers were the best money could hire, because the word unsinkable had been used in enough press releases that it started to feel like a structural fact. Tell me how you plan for a disaster you've already decided cannot happen. Tell me what you call it when the aesthetics team wins the meeting. You are awake now. Someone knocked. A steward in the hallway. Calm voice. Life jackets recommended. Not urgent. Like a suggestion. Like he's mentioning you might want a jacket because it's chilly. The floor feels flat. The ship looks fine. But the engines are quiet and you can feel that through the soles of your feet. Deep silence below you. which on a ship this size means something very specific. On deck, it is 28 degrees and the stars are extraordinary, and a calm officer is loading lifeboats. Lifeboat 7, capacity 65. They lower it with 28 people. 28. Because nobody believes the ship is actually going down. It doesn't look like a sinking ship. It looks like an enormous expensive hotel that is maybe tilted a few degrees. Denial is very warm, right up until the water hits your feet. The officers fire distress rockets, 8 of them, white flares going up into the night sky over the North Atlantic. About 10 miles away, the SS Californian sits, stopped in the ice. They see the rockets. Their wireless operator is asleep. The officer on watch watches the flares go up one by one and decides they must be company signals. Not distress, just signals. He watches all 8 go up and does nothing. The Californian is 10 miles away. If she moves at 11:40 p.m. when Fleet rings the bell, more people live. She doesn't move until 5:30 a.m., well after the Titanic is gone. There is a full inquiry about this. The officer on watch never satisfactorily explained what he thought 8 white rockets in the middle of the night meant, if not distress. Let me tell you about the band. Wallace Hartley and his 8 musicians set up on the deck and they play. Ragtime first. Keep the mood light. Keep people calm. 2.5 hours they stand there in dress clothes in the cold, playing waltzes and hymns and popular songs. Because panic loads boats wrong, and wrong boats mean more people die, and Hartley understood that. They play until the water comes across the deck around them. His body came up 10 days later. His violin case was still strapped to his chest. He had his name engraved on the clasp. He monogrammed the thing. He was that kind of precise and serious person. You make it to a lifeboat. They're loading women and children first. An officer on deck has a pistol, not pointing it at anyone, just carrying it. But people see it and understand this is the actual situation. Not a drill, not a precaution. The actual ship. Your plastic hands grip the cold railing over 12,500 feet of black water. The temperature is falling, and somewhere below you, the forward compartments are filling fast. Tell me what it feels like to watch the biggest ship in the world go vertical. Tell me where you put that in a plastic chest with no moving parts. The Titanic breaks in half at 2:17 a.m. The stern rises 150 feet straight up and stands there for a moment. Then it goes down. 1,500 people in 28-degree water. 15 to 30 minutes before unconsciousness, under an hour to death. The lifeboats are on the flat black water a few hundred yards out. Some come back, most don't. They said they feared being swamped. Lifeboat 14 came back. 5th Officer Harold Lowe pulled 13 people from the water. The other boats had room. They had the space. They kept their distance. 1,517 people died that night. Not a statistic. A band leader with a monogrammed violin case. A ship's designer who knew the exact minute it would sink and stayed aboard anyway. A captain on his last voyage before retirement. 40 years at sea, ending here. Third-class passengers in the lower decks behind locked gates while the water climbed the corridors. The gates were real. That is in the record. In the inquiry. In the testimony of people who survived the lower decks and told exactly what they saw when they finally got to speak. Here's the thing about the Titanic that gets you every time. You know it sinks before you board. You know it from the beginning of the story. Everybody does. And still, when you're standing at the railing at dinner with a plastic champagne flute in your tiny hand, watching the dark, flat ocean go by, feeling how solid and permanent and enormous this thing is, you understand completely how they didn't know. How you can build the biggest ship in the world and still forget to pack binoculars. How you can employ the finest engineers alive and still pull the extra lifeboats because the promenade looked too crowded. How unsinkable is the most dangerous word in any language because it makes the water disappear in your mind before it ever arrives. You are one of the 710 who make it. wrapped in a coat and a lifeboat in the dark, watching the stern go vertical, listening to the sounds in the water get quieter one by one until there is nothing. The stars are extraordinary. They do not care at all. At 4:10 a.m., the RMS Carpathia arrives. Captain Arthur Rostron had cut heat to every passenger cabin and rerouted the hot water to the boilers for maximum speed. He pushed through ice fields at 17 knots. He got there as fast as physics would allow, which was still too late for 1,517 people, but not too late for you. Your yellow face looks back at the flat black water where 46,000 tons of steel used to be. Nothing there now, just stars and silence and the cold, which was always there the whole time, waiting.